Hey, welcome to today's video. Today we have my September wrap up. I started reading again, like actually reading, putting time into reading in August. And before that, I had really just not had time to read. I was working a job where I was kind of stressed and honestly unhappy, and it just was not a good time. I was always busy. When I got home, I didn't want to read. I just wanted to lay in bed and watch Netflix, or I don't know what was I doing. I don't know. I don't even want to remember because we're here anyway. So yeah, I started reading in August, and I don't even know how many books I read because I wasn't keeping track, but for September I made sure to keep track since I knew I was going to be filming. So yeah, let's get to them. What did I think? What did I rate them? And then you let me know what you thought of them down below if you've read them, so we can chat, because I have no one to talk to about these books. So the first book that I read this month was The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. I gave it 3.5 stars. Honestly, solid book. Wasn't great, wasn't terrible. There was things I liked about it and things I disliked. I did like the atmosphere. This was like a gothic horror book with some like spooky vibes, and they were there. Like when she's in the house and she feels the cold, the penetrating cold, and you know, like she's scared, like I felt it. I was like, ooh, like I was definitely in the dark with like a candle on with the flickers because I like the vibe, even though I'm such a scaredy cat, but I still like the vibes. I think I'm more scared of like jump scary things. Like movies I can't do, but a book is different. Like I like it. So yeah, I like that. The romance in this was kind of cringe because it's with a priest. Take what you want from that. And then the ending was not great. It was just like meh. Like that's it. Okay, read. So yeah, okay, 3.5 stars. After that though, I read a really good book. It was Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I read these on ebook. Dark Matter, man, it was trippy. We explore the multiverse, and this was so fast paced. Like from chapter 1, our main character, Jason, gets abducted from like the street. He's taken, if you will. And from there, it just starts. This was good. I literally was just like laying there at night, staring up at the ceiling, contemplating all my life choices. Like it was trippy in the best way. I love this, and the ending I was satisfied with. I was like, how are we gonna end this? But honestly, it was good. Definitely pick it up. 4.5 stars. It's a sci-fi, but it is just like so good. I really liked it. And then on the ebook train, my Kindle was my best friend this month. I read A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. And I've come to learn that Rebecca Ross is just not for me, much to my dismay, because I want to love her writing, but it's just too slow for me. Like it is too slow. But I gave this 3.75 stars, so not a bad book, and honestly a beautiful book. They're just not for me. However, I did enjoy it. Book 2 was better. A River Enchanted, we follow Jack. He's a bard, and in this world there's like an island, the Isle, and then the mainland, and it's got like Scottish vibes going on. The audiobook, I had to switch from ebook to audiobook because when I started the ebook, I was like kind of bored. I was like, hey, I don't think I'm gonna make it. But when I switched to the audiobook, she has a Scottish accent, and it was so good. Like I really enjoyed her narration. 5 out of 5 for narration. So good. Also, she pronounced words like the lock. I can't even do it. Like I can't because I don't have a Scottish accent, but there's words that I would not, like her name, one of the main girl, Adara. I would not have known to say Adara. I probably would have made up some random name. But yeah, it was good. He's on the mainland studying music when one day he gets a letter from like the king of the East telling him he needs to come back to the Isle immediately. When he gets there, he finds out it wasn't the king that sent him the letter, and he stays to help out with the mystery that's unfolding. It's kind of a setup book for book 2, to be honest, but a good time. 3.75 stars. Like I said, if you like Divine Rivals and Rebecca Ross, you'll probably like it. Then I read, when I finished this, I was like, ugh, I was almost going to be on a reading slump, and I was like, let me just choose something. So I literally chose a random ebook, and I only chose it because of the covers. Like, it has the like neon colors on the cover, which really drew me in. And that's Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This is an old YA book, but it was a good time. And I surprised myself by giving it 4 stars. Listen, it did its job that day. I was like really into it that day. Like, I am saying that day because I read it in a day. It was good. It was a good time. In this world, we have angels, we have demons or chimera. Our main girl, Karu, she's a human living in our world, but she's been raised by chimera. So she goes to their realm through these like magical portal doors that are like all around the world. And she does errands for the chimera. One day, there's like these dark, smoky handprints on all the portal doors. And then all of a sudden, the doors blow up. And she has no way of going back to the realm, to her like adoptive family, the chimera. It's like a little family, kind of like found family, to be honest, but except she was like born into it, so not really found. But yeah, she's trying to figure out who she is. She's trying to figure out how to get to her family. It was a good time. It wasn't like earth shattering, but it was a good time. So if you just want like a quick read and you're not super critical of books, check it out. And I feel like I have to say this when I do my ratings. I think I've said it before, but I want to say it again. I rate purely on enjoyment, not on if a book is a masterpiece, not if it is a literary, like anything. Like, I don't break things down like that, and maybe I should, but I don't. The only time you'll hear me actually saying like this was really bad, I would never even say like this is trash. Unless it was. I can't say never. But I try not to. I try and like give a reason why I didn't like it. Or if it was just really just subjectively bad, then I'll address it respectfully, but just kind of know that. Like, if you're here expecting me to rip something apart, it's probably not gonna happen. That being said, if I dislike something, I'll let you know respectfully. And then we had the first physical book of the month, Supernova by Marissa Meyer. I buddy read this with my brother, and honestly, he loved this trilogy so much that his enthusiasm was infectious. And I rated this 5 stars. Do I think this should be a 5-star? Probably not. I think it should be like a 4-star for me, because there was stuff that bothered me, but all in all, this was a good time. I didn't love the ending, and that epilogue, I feel like it's a plot hole. If you've read this, down below, let me know if you think that's a plot hole, because I thought it was, and I brought it up to my brother, and he's like, you know what? I think you're right. But if you've read it, you know, in the epilogue, like that revelation, wouldn't Captain Chromium put 1 and 1 together and know and tell Nova? Like, when it's all clicking, when he's like, he realizes who she is, wouldn't he know? Did I miss something? Like, was it me or was it Marissa? Who missed it? Let me know. But yeah, a good time. And again, my brother loved it, so I love my brother. If he loves something, I'll try and love it. But honestly, this was good. This is about superheroes and supervillains. In this world, a lot of the population, actually, I think like most of the population has powers. Very My Hero Academia. If you don't like anime, it's anime. I love anime. But anyway, going back to this, we have the Renegades, the Heroes, and the Anarchists, and a bunch of other little small villain groups. But the Anarchists are like the main ones. Our girl Nova is an anarchist, and that's not a spoiler. You find out like immediately in book 1. She was always told by her dad, like, don't worry, if anything, nothing's ever going to happen to us, and if we're ever in danger, the Renegades will come and save us. Until one day, her whole family's murdered in front of her, and nobody saved them. Naturally, she's holding grudges. She's mad. because where the hell were they? They didn't save her family. So, you know, she's out for blood. She's out for vengeance. She's mad. And I think that's all I'll say. But yeah, it's a good book. If you like YA fantasy, YA sci-fi, you'll like it. And then I listened to an audiobook, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. The reason I listened to this was because I saw that the movie was on Amazon Prime and I really wanted to watch it. But as a reader, I must read the book first. So I did. And it was actually a really good time. I knew that I would like it, but I gave it 4 stars. So I really liked it. This is about the first son of the United States falling in love with the Prince of England and kind of all the aftermath of what happens, you know. I really liked the first son because I liked him as a whole, like his personality, but also he was Mexican American and from Texas, just like me. And in the book, they actually do touch on some like Hispanic culture, Mexican American culture, and then there's like some Spanish in there, which I thought was cool. And it made me, I don't know, it made me happy because I kind of miss home. I really miss home, actually. So it did make me happy to read a little bit about that, and it was a good time. The movie was also good. It was not as good as the book, but it was good. I liked it. Keep in mind though, I'm not a super tough critic. Like, I try to like everything, but it was good. A fun time. Don't regret it. And then I did my first reading vlog of September, and I finished the Folk of the Air series, beginning with The Queen of Nothing, which is book 3 in that series. I rated it 3.5 stars. It was the conclusion of the series, but honestly, I just didn't love it. It was okay. It was just kind of mid, which is why I gave it 3.5. I just feel like, first of all, there was not enough Cardan, and Cardan was my favorite character in the whole series. And then Jude, who I really liked, I feel like she was such a badass the whole time, and I wanted more of her queenship. Like, I figured that more would happen. Like, she would be more of a badass, and it wouldn't just be this like singular event that they're overcoming. Like book 2, The Wicked King, I liked a lot more, and I felt like a lot more happened, but that could just be me. 3.5 stars. After that, I read the little novella that goes with that series, How the King of Elfheim Learned to Hate Stories. I really like this. I give it 5 stars, and honestly, it probably should have been like a 4.5, but I'm gonna stick to the 5 stars just because I read this in the morning, which is not a feat. It's got a lot of illustrations, really beautiful illustrations, and that's part of what I liked about it. It made me feel like a kid again, flipping through like a picture book. This is written from Cardan's perspective, and if you didn't read this and you read the series, you need to pick this up. It's from Cardan's perspective, and we see like childhood stuff, adolescent stuff, and then like the present. I liked it. I wish we had seen when, like, a little more of Jude. Like, what did Cardan think or feel when Jude was in the Undersea, or when she was in the mortal world and not responding to her letters? But that being said, what was in here I really liked, which is why I rated it 5 stars. And then I did another reading vlog because I needed to read these books. Everybody had read them. Everybody had talked about them. Everybody was reading about them, and I had serious FOMO. So let's start off with Divine Rivals. Again, I'm not going to go super into detail, or I'm going to try not to, but I do like to talk. I didn't love this. I gave it 3.5 stars, and honestly, I should have given it 3 stars, but I already gave it 3.5, and I'm going to stick with it. 0.5 for the epilogue. But this book is about Iris and Roman. They communicate via magical typewriter, but before that, they're work rivals, and I wouldn't call them rivals. They're just kind of like always throwing little jabs at each other, but there's no outright hate or anything like that. They're just vying for the same position at the newspaper place that they work at. That's the extent of the rivalry. But yeah, they're work rivals, and she has a brother named Forrest who goes to fight off in the war. What war? The War of the Gods. However, the gods are nowhere to be seen. It reads more like World War I, World War II. And actually, I posted on TikTok, and somebody, like, I was talking to her, and she said that this is very like historical fiction masked as fantasy, and I could not agree more. This definitely read more like a historical fiction than it did a fantasy. But if you don't mind not having fantasy elements, because honestly, like, there wasn't much. We have two magical typewriters. We have the mention of some like hellhounds. We have the mention, well, we do see the like winged creatures, but all they do is drop things. Like, they don't go attack anyone, they don't go rip someone's leg off, which I know sounds like a bit much, but you get it, right? As a fantasy girl, there was not enough fantasy. However, in the epilogue, one of the gods finally shows up, and so that makes me believe that I'll like book 2, but book 1, not for me. However, if you don't mind a slow paced book, I mean, it wasn't like slow, but it felt so slow to me, probably because I wasn't enjoying it. But a slow burn, beautiful romance. His love for her, perfect. Her love for him was sweet too, but his love for her, gorgeous, gorgeous. Not smutty, not sexy, beautiful. 3.5 stars. And then I finally read Fourth Wing, and listen, this has been so popular, like so popular. Most people have loved this and have praised it, but a lot of people have ripped it apart. And I mean really ripped it apart, like, which to me is kind of crazy, because yeah, I get it, I get what they're saying, but I never felt that strongly about the things that bothered me. But to each their own. Like what you like and don't apologize for it. And I love this. 5 stars. This is about our main character, Violet. She's like this little frail, sickly girl who has trained her whole life to be a scribe. But she comes from like this family of dragon riders, and her mom is hella pushy, and she makes her go to dragon rider school, if you will, instead of scribe school, like she trained for her whole life. And once she's there, she realizes, like, dang, she really is weak and frail and all this. And these people have trained since they were children to become writers. There's trials, there's tests, there's dragons. From the beginning, there's dragons. And honestly, if there would have been more dragons, I would have been happy. I feel like there was enough, but there could have been more. The dialogue was cringy, I'm not gonna lie. It was cringy. Our girl was super thirsty for Xaden, the male lead, although I do not blame her, because book boyfriend, for sure. Was he toxic? Yes. But we all know we ignore the toxicity for these books. Not for real life, for the books. But yeah, it was a good time. I really like the ending. I feel like book 2 is gonna be really good, and I can't wait to get it in November. Again, if you want more thoughts and literally watching me react as I go, check out that reading vlog. And then I ended the month with an audiobook, A Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross. I gave it 4 stars. So a little higher than book 1. It was definitely way better. I think I might have rated book 1 a little too high, but it's been done. But Fire Endless, we finally get more of the spirits. The wind, the fire, the water, the earth. We get more of them. And we also get like the human politics and them just like navigating, coming together, like the East and the West, and, you know, the rivalry. It was a good time. Again, I've realized that Rebecca Ross is just not for me. However, it was a good book. And if you tend to like Rebecca Ross's writing and her books, you'll like it. Not a bad book at all. 4 stars. And that was it. Those were all the books that I read in the month of September. Honestly, a good month. If I can muster up some graphics, we'll have them here. If not, I apologize. But yeah, not a bad month. I am very happy that I found a favorite book in Fourth Wing, and I had some other good reads. Dark Matter, Red, White, and Royal Blue. Some good reads, some solid reads, and then very little like slower reads, mainly Rebecca Ross, but I've learned my lesson. But yeah, I'll see you next week with our last big haul for the rest of the year probably. I'm gonna really try, but don't hold me to it. But I'll see you next Friday. Bye.